All right, so this is new in Nashville podcast with Pacey, special guest Tom of the Pat and Tom Morning Show.
I'm horning in, and thank you very much. I love watching these guys this morning so much that I had to have a chance to chat with you, just to see if I invest in your band, because you're going to be huge.
Well, so
if you want to give us money, you can give us money. Yeah.
Right. Let's tell them who it is, though. It's King Calaway, new up-and-coming band, which, to me, I honestly, watching your performance, I kind of got, has anyone compared you to, like, a country version of Pentatonics?
No.
No.
That's new.
Yeah.
We're the Country Tonics.
The Country Tonics.
We only
incredible.
aim to be as good as Pentatonics.
Yeah,
I'm
they're
obsessed
amazing.
with them.
I mean, when you guys do the acapella versions, like you guys are on the same level of talent there. It was amazing.
Thank you. Thank you.
So let's start talking about first how you guys all came together, because it's a very interesting story where essentially it's 3 different countries.
Yeah.
And how did you guys all meet, or were you all like put together?
So we all actually met through mutual friends and mutual contacts. Simon and I are friends with John Schoen, who was the musical director for One Direction. A bunch of the guys were friends with Jason Halbert, and Robert Deaton out of Nashville was friends with Jason and John, and pulled us all together, and we met in a room at Chick-fil-A and then played Love the One You're With, and King Calaway was formed.
Did you say you met at Chick-fil-A?
No, we had Chick-fil-A.
Oh.
And then we played Love the One You're With in a room together. We all came into Nashville. Simon came over from, you were living in where, Manchester at the time?
Yeah, I had just finished my degree in Manchester, in the UK, yeah.
And so we all arrived in Nashville, spent time together as friends at first, and then we started to play music. And like I said, Love the One You're With was a real blueprint for the King Calaway sound. And I think once we did get in a room, we built our friendships first, and then the music came. And I think that once we played that song, we all looked at each other and went, yeah, this is something really special. We should do this.
That's awesome. So how'd you guys, we were talking about this earlier, but how'd you guys come up with the name? That's kind of an interesting.
Yeah, so I used to work a job washing tour buses, and somebody at the company had the last name of his last name was Calaway.
Did he own the golf balls? Like,
No, that's the thing. I don't golf, so I always thought it was a cool last name. Brought it to them. I don't golf. I didn't know it was a club, and it resonated with Chad.
Yeah, I went to a school named after Cab Calloway, who's
Okay.
one of the greatest entertainers ever. And I hadn't even told Chris that. Like, we had only known each other for the amount of time. I hadn't even told him that. And when he said Callaway, I was like, what was that? I was like, what? So it really resonated with me. It was so, and it resonated with all of us, too. It was something that we could kind of work with and go off of.
Yeah, it's kind of just a Leonard Skinner story,
Right.
Somebody I knew, and
right.
Yeah.
So where'd the king come from?
Pretty sure Jordan has something to do with Mary, Queen of Scots, or something like that. So we just thought,
Royalty.
I don't know. He insists he's part of the royal family with all the rings he wears. So we just threw a king in there.
And let's just make it the 3 countries you guys go, America, and then Scotland,
And Gibraltar.
which I think a lot of people don't realize that is a country.
Yeah, well, it's like a country, but it's part of the United Kingdom. So technically,
Yeah.
we're like 2 nations in this band and 3 countries, because we're both UK, Scotland, and Gibraltar.
And we heard the story this morning, but for those watching and listening, how do you find your way from Gibraltar to Nashville? And same question to you from Scotland to Nashville.
Yeah, a friend of mine who knew Jordan kind of recommended that I go out there to Nashville, because he knew that I was getting ready to basically give up music for good. And yeah, he said, why don't you head out to Nashville, give yourself a weekend there, and it could refresh like your love for music, and it did exactly that. I've always wanted an excuse to get to Nashville, and that was a perfect excuse, really. So it was great.
For me, I had just come off television in London, and I love country music so much. I'd always want to be in America, but obviously with visa situations, it's quite difficult. So once I'd done that, I had enough credentials to apply for my visa, and my dad did say to me, son, I think you should use this time, really use those credentials to move to Nashville. So I was already in Nashville before I met these guys, and I got there and quickly met Chris, actually.
we had met. Yeah.
Yeah, Chris and I met real quick, and it just snowballed. Really just snowballed from that point on, and that's how I got there and how we all ended up being together.
Was there any? I mean, a 6-person band is pretty. That's unusual. You can quite
In country for sure.
Yeah, yeah. Especially where every single one of you guys can really freaking sing. It's not fair. It isn't right. Was there any trepidation at all? Like, oh man, we can't do 6. We got to pare it down. Or has it been just pedal to the metal 6 all for one.
Yeah, I think when we started rehearsing and started kind of like getting our sound together, it was really easy to figure out what each other's strengths were, both instrumentally, musically, and vocally and stuff like that. So it was easy to really like when we were working on our songs, especially on the songs of the EP. We utilized that really and took advantage of that and just really used that to have it become the King Calaway sound.
In like my past experiences in bands, I've almost felt like you never want to push more like than 4 or 5 people in a band, and what's happened is that we've ended up sacrificing instruments. So like I think what's really cool here is that we can have Chad and myself both playing acoustic guitars and an electric guitar, where typically you just have one acoustic, one electric, or like in other bands it's been like if I'm playing the guitar then no one's playing the piano. So it's just been really cool having all 6 of us bringing so much to the table.
Yeah.
I'm feeling like no shortage of options, and that for me has been the best things, because we can create a massive sound just by like doubling things.
I was gonna say, I mean, if you were gonna eliminate somebody, it'd probably be the high school guy. But
Yeah, he's gone. He's out.
Absolutely
no way.
this kid plays guitar really well. I'm sorry, I forget your name.
Caleb.
Caleb, you are an amazing guitar player, and when you were talking to our lounge full of people a little bit ago, you're still in school. You have prom coming up next month?
Yeah, I'm doing my senior year online on the road, so it's been pretty interesting. It's been really hard to like turn off musician mode and then go do my homework. Like it's really odd, but these guys have like been super supportive, and they've helped.
Do you guys
me out
help him with
that.
homework?
Oh,
I
yeah.
can't help him
you.
with that homework.
No.
I'll tell him to go do it, but I can't help him with
So
it.
you're more like the parents.
Exactly.
So how is that working? You're still going to prom, so are you going to be touring during that time?
No, we got the day off.
Okay.
Yeah, we're
so,
actually like flying in from a city and then going.
So it's like a normal job where you have to request a day off.
Exactly. Yeah. I had to tell her like 6 months ago that I have prom, and then like I could go.
Did you have to do a prom reveal, or was it just like, look, yes or no?
Yeah, I don't have time for that, but I was like, yeah, we're going to prom.
Yeah, we
Now-
all want to go.
Do you plan on also going to college afterwards, or are you kind of just going to put everything into the band?
I don't know. As of now, probably not.
Why?
Well, I don't know.
Please
Now
don't
I
go
feel
to
like a
college.
parent.
Please don't go to
Please
college.
don't
dude.
go
We need
college.
you.
Or
We
you,
need
you can do University of Phoenix online. You know, why
Right,
not?
yeah.
Also, I feel like Caleb would go to college to try to find this.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
This is what I've always wanted, and I never really like wanted to go to college to like get an ordinary degree. I always wanted to be in a band, so I really never seen any point in it, and especially finding the band that I've always been wanting. I don't see any point in going to college.
Yeah, so some of us have graduated college. Some of us have dropped out of college. I've dropped out of college twice, but that's mostly because I was going to college for music, and
Right.
I was going to find something like this, exactly what Caleb was kind of saying. And you know, the experience that you get on the road is a whole different thing from what you get in like a classroom. You know, so and it's been awesome.
Yeah. So and you're from Minnesota?
Correct, yeah.
Okay. So where's your story? How'd you get to Nashville? First of all, sorry, your name.
My name's Austin.
Austin. So your story is how'd you get to Nashville from Minnesota, essentially?
Well, I moved. First, I was in Boston, and from there I moved to Los Angeles, and I was working as just a hired bass player, playing for different artists and stuff. And that was going pretty well. Like I kind of figured that was going to be kind of my life, was just bouncing from artist to artist and just touring and stuff. But Jason Halbert was like, "Hey man, I think I have something for you that would be really, really cool." And so I moved to Nashville, just kind of on that note, on that kind of thing that Jason Halbert told me, and it was the best decision I've ever made. So
What's the biggest star that you've played bass for?
I used to play for Rachel Platten.
Oh, okay.
And Sabrina Carpenter,
Yeah.
she's in Japan right now, which is pretty cool.
So have you traveled the world with them too?
Yeah,
Or oh,
yeah.
awesome.
But yeah, 6 continents.
Austin stood on a camel once
Yeah.
Stood on
Stood
the
on
camel.
yeah.
It was
with
really
the
cool.
pyramids in the background, and he did.
Yeah.
You actually stood on the camel.
Yeah,
I've
you-
seen the photo. It's
like
I've
on the
seen
hump.
It's
photo
pretty.
too.
It's pretty
Yeah.
dope.
It's awesome.
I hate to
Well,
see
so
it.
the guy was like, "Okay, if you have a brave heart, you can stand up on the camel." And I was like, "Dude, I don't know. The next time I'm gonna be in front of the pyramids, so I'm
Right.
let's do it." Just got up on top of that camel, and he was like, "Okay, I got it." I'm like, "You got it?" And he's like, "Yeah, yeah." So I'm like,
That's amazing.
So when you guys, I want to go back to the harmonies for just a second.
Yeah.
Is it true or false? Anybody who can sing, you get a group of them together, they can harmonize together.
False.
I think there's a lot of great singers that struggle with harmonizing, but
Mhm.
also I think,
So what makes it
And it
work
could
for
be
you
the other
guys?
way
Is this
around.
just like lightning in a bottle here, or
like on a personal level, I super owe it to my years in a choir. Like I was in a like a pop and gospel choir from the age of 14 till about like 20 or 19. So those just like 7 to 8 years of just constantly working in choirs and getting all these harmonies. Now it all makes sense, like how you can use that in the context of a band. Because I kind of had my band thing and the choir thing. So it's really cool for me being able to be in a band where I'm a lead singer, but I'm also singing harmonies. Like that for me is like goals. In terms of,
I think from my perspective, you know, I grew up playing multiple different instruments, and for me, singing was one of the last instruments I picked up. So I never did choir or anything like that. Yeah, and learning from these guys, their skill set and harmony is just absolutely incredible. And I feel like I learned really fast with these guys. You know, they kind of showed me the ways, and I was very lucky because I never had that experience. But it's been amazing to learn from these guys because you can see the depth of experience that they have. And everyone, you know, Chris is a great harmony singer, and we're all really pulling together now, and I feel like we're on a really good path now with our harmonies. But sonically, it clicked.
yeah, and like I mean, all of you guys can sing. You're like Little Big Town that way. All four of you can take lead if you need to,
Mm-hmm.
and it's phenomenal. I mean, God, even the drummer.
Yeah, he's a great singer. Great singer.
Well, so that's the thing about it. Because how does this work? Because it doesn't seem like there's just one lead singer. Like there's no one Justin Timberlake of the group. Like
Nah.
you all like are essentially like have a lead part at some point in every song. I feel like.
At some point. Now, there are generally Simon, Jordan, and Chad take the leads, and we sing a lot of like the backgrounds.
But on a song like I Did that we performed a lot live,
Yeah.
and that we'll release later on in an album. Each one of us takes a lead part. Each one of us has a line. And when the way we recorded it in studio was we did it kind of like Beach Boys styles, did around one mic, and then Simon was in another room with a piano and his mic, and we cut that live, and just to kind of bring some of that authenticity back into music a bit, you know, and that was really important for us to have each of us be singing a lead on that song.
Right.
Yeah.
Could you guys just if you don't want to, you're not on the clock now. But when you were doing that, a little bit of Crosby, Stills, and Nash, just because that's so identifiable, could you guys just do a quick little bit of that, just as an example of?
Yeah. Do
what
you have your pitch pipe?
I don't have the pitch for that. Is that to C? Where there's a rose. Check. Yeah.
Well, there's a rose in a fistful of love, and the eagle flies with the dove. And if you can't be with the one you love, honey, love the one you're with. Love the one you're with.
2, 3, 4.
Dude, I have goosebumps. That is amazing. Like, my God, like you can't. I feel like you can't even teach that kind of talent. Like,
I just want to try something here because you guys are.
no,
so
Tom,
good
don't
at
try
that.
to sing with them, please.
I just want to see if this could work with like literally anything when you can actually harmonize. So can you guys just like work up a real quick jingle for Pat and Tom's Beef and Cheese? So it'd be like,
my God.
like come up with a little Pat and Tom's Beef and Cheese or something like that.
Pat and Tom.
Just really sell it.
Pat and Tom's beef and cheese. Pat and Tom's beef and cheese. Pat and Tom's beef and cheese.
On that note, that was amazing. On that note,
Wait, let's do it one more time. I want to hit that suspension.
Wait, where does it start?
Pat and Tom.
Okay, go up on the second one.
Okay, 1, 2. Pat and Tom's beef and cheese.
And now we go.
Pat and Tom's beef and cheese.
yeah, woohoo. Dude, that is amazing. On that note, King Calaway, thank you so much
Thank you.
for coming on New in Nashville.
Thank you.
That's so funny.